Alright, in this video I wanted to talk about the new release. They did the Grenwog Festival limited time shop, as well as the April Fool's limited time shop. And so let's go ahead and start with the April Fool's. They also did a couple new faces and the birthday limited time shop. I'm not going to cover that really. I feel like the faces are kind of goofy, and I personally don't care about faces. So I won't usually cover that. So basically what we have here is in this shop we have a shield. Basically this is a trigger shield. It has a down trigger and an up trigger. So the down trigger is going to be 13 blocking across the board. The up trigger will be 19 blocking, with the trigger being unlucky. So if the monster's unlucky, you'll get 19 blocking. This particular shield, you can use it versus anything, but it's supposed to go with these water weapons here. And these water weapons here inflict unlucky on the monster. Now, unlucky is a absolute terrible status in today's game. Ever since the stat revamp, luck lost. I think luck lost more than it gained. It doesn't contribute to blocking, doesn't contribute to accuracy. All it does now is help with initiative. It used to be like the big thing. Luck used to be the big initiative stat, but the introduction of main stat made it less powerful than it is before. And then I kind of feel like other than status rolls and lucky strikes, it's kind of really does not do much. Lucky break to me is one of those statuses that you don't see too much. You don't fight too many monsters that give you a status of some kind for it to flip it. But there are some monsters, usually bosses, that it can trivialize them. So it can be very overpowered, but 95% of the time you're not even going to notice it. But basically, you have kind of the same theme that we've been seeing. You're paying a bunch of SP to inflict a status upon your attack. The magic weapon, I did pick it up, tried it out. I ditched it. I have the painting, so maybe one day. But basically you use this to inflict unlucky, and then your shield will gain 6 blocking, so you'll get plus 19 blocking. So you have an energy shield and a water weapon here. So the idea is you're fighting a energy monster who is almost always normally weak to water. So using this weapon with this shield is the idea here. Ultimately, I think if this was a luck steel, kind of like Rubzard, then this would be a lot better. I would rather use this shield with Rubzards anyway instead of this weapon. Being tokens, and you're paying, I think it's 385 SP to inflict unlucky. That's really all that's doing, is it's triggering your shield. It's not really contributing to anything. It's a bad idea at the end of the day. Alright, so we're going to move over here to the Grenwog limited time shop, and this is where the actual good weapons went. The shield that it has actually does the same thing as the one we just talked about, but instead of triggering on unlucky, it triggers on burns. So it's a lot more, you'll see this a lot more often. And then these weapons are actually pretty good. The melee one is actually extremely similar to Heroic Titan. 4-hit armor, you can inflict some strong burns. And then this is what it looks like. I didn't pick it up. Here's the range. It's a cannon, so it's 100 proc. And then you have the magic version. Now, these guys, instead of paying like the 392, or I guess it'd be 385 being a Z item, SP, it only does half of that, but it pays the other half in reduced damage. So These will be a little bit more efficient to do. I picked up the magic and the ranged, as well as all the shields. So what I'll just do here is just kind of show off, just really quick, what I personally think is the best combo. If you remember, we received a spell called Harrowing Dunes a while back. It's a permanent burn. You could go that route, but I'm actually going to use a different spell, mostly because in all my combos, so Heroic Titan, I'm using Seeing Red. With the Love Wand, which I don't have equipped right here, I typically use Golem Assault. And so I'm incorporating some defense into my playstyle, especially using like Soul Neko and stuff like that, which is going to enhance the burns and the bleeds and whatnot. So I'm doing the same thing here. So again, you have the 193 SP, so it's 196 if it was a level 150 item, but being a Z item, it's 193. And then I'm going to go ahead and continue with Optico. What's really nice about this is, if you remember Optico, I'll turn this off and back on. Notice it says negative 8.5 accuracy and negative 6 blocking, which is completely fine because I'm going to actually use Abominable Frostbite, which is basically auto hit. They added a couple of token hits so that these types of weapons would actually work. So what I'm going to do is just cast this. I'm getting a choke effect, 6 round, 0.7, that's versus 100% ice. And then the burn is now 6.43 and 6 rounds. So you get 64% melee for 6 rounds. Now we're at 5. So whatever 64 times 5 is, if I wanted to eat the burn this time, that's what that is. So in this case, we're not actually getting reduced damage for the effect because the damage is already 0. So basically you're in this particular spell, the entire spell is already going towards effects. So there is no damage reduction. So as you can notice, we have 11.79 burn now, so it's 117% melee for 5 rounds. And my choke status is going lower and lower. We're now at 24 choke. So the monster's really not doing much to me. Plus there's probably a little bit of panic here. Let's see, the panic's now at 21%. So basically the monster's pretty screwed at this point. And then let's see, I'm going to go ahead and hop into Lion. So it's going to LE seek between fire and water. So fire's the worst element here. Now here I would go ahead and swap it out to something else. Just whatever you want. And then, because in this case it would reduce this damage here. Maybe not actually, because it's not an ice spell. I forgot. But so we've got 5,267 hit points, and we've got all this burn. Let's see what we can kind of do here. It's a little bit of a nuke. So you're basically setting up a nuke while playing defense. And so that's why I like these combos. That's why I use Ornament Golem Assault. That's why I use Seeing Red, so I can play defense while inflicting these burns. But that's how I use the new Grenwog Sapper item, as I just do this and just make sure I'm replenishing my MP. 6.43 for 6 rounds is pretty good together, especially using an auto hit spell that pays its entire damage. So you're not losing out here, and you're not losing out here on the Optico either with this combination. So it's quite good. Now what I'd like to do is go ahead and hop over to a full defensive Beast Ranger. I'm going to show it. I am in the process of attempting to sort of load out this particular player, but I've basically moved over Luna Neko, Master Archer, and those kinds of things. But what I'm doing here, and I could have done this with the Lucky Beast Mage, but I wanted to be able to cast every time, and Optico's basically allowing for that to happen. So here is the ranged version of it, and then all I'm going to do here, so I basically am using kind of the same concept. I'm using King Linus for defense. So we have this combination that did 8.4 burn for 4 rounds. And then let's see here. It's going to LE seek between energy and light. So let's see if we can. I forget which one. This one's earth and fire. I'm still trying to relearn which elements is on Luna. Ice and wind. So it's going to do ice. So I just did this one time with Iceborne Visage. And so I'm getting burn here based on the bow attack. Right? So I toggled on, let's see, is it this one here? So it's going to be the element of the weapon. The weapon itself is doing burn. And then we got the burn from the Misk. And that was the result there. This time anyway. But then I want to show you the damage that's going to come from this skill right off the bat. As you can see, 1 round and then some pretty crazy burn here. So we didn't get some burns completely land that time. I still need to go get a Shadow Feeder pendant. Some other stuff with this guy, but let's see what we can manage here. So now we're up to 16 power burn for 4 rounds. And then we'll just go ahead and show off what we're going to end up with here damage-wise on this. As you can see, it's a little bit of a nuke. So, both cases, there's ways to stack the burn and then eat it with your Neko armors. And so that's kind of what I'm doing with them. I think there's another burn eat spell from one of the seasonal ones. I forget what element it is though off the top of my head, but one of those skeleton clone spells for mages. But that's it for this video. Just wanted to show off a couple of the items. Keep in mind the shields will trigger on burns, and unlucky, if you want the unlucky shit, I would just skip it. I think Monster Lord and water spells is a better deal. It's burns, and so I'll just go that route instead. But ultimately, there's some burn eating here. Some good little token weapons on the ice stuff, the mecha stuff, with the water stuff being kind of shitty. But like I said, that's it.